If I had a nickel for every artist who was affiliated with Johnny Cash, who would also go on to make a comeback via a posthumous album in the year 2025 in the exact same month of October, I'd have two nickels. Which isn't a lot, but it's strange that that's happened twice. Carl Perkins' Some Things Never Change was recorded throughout 1990 before sadly and stupidly being shelved, but then finally being released on Old Sun Records on October 24th, 2025 to commemorate the almost 70 years of his first hit single, Blue Suede Shoes. Not only is this his very first posthumous LP, long overdue as it was, but this is also his first album release in almost 30 years since the 1996 release of Go Cat Go. The album was produced by a friend of Carl's named Bill Lloyd, who's a singer, songwriter, musician, so on, who had the unique privilege of actually being able to move in temporarily with Carl at his home in Jackson, Tennessee, where they would record the majority of this album in Carl's pool house studio. Not only did he have a pool house, he had a studio in the pool house. God, Carl was so damn classy. On top of that, you also have Carl being joined by his two sons, Greg on bass and Stan, who sadly passed away last month, on drums. So not only do you have the talent of Carl on this album, but you have a combined talent of 3 Perkins on one album. So that's a pretty good deal in my opinion. The album kicks off with track number 1, Baby Bye Bye. And after that acoustic guitar comes in to start it off, Stan starts slamming on those drums. It's big and loud and powerful. Carl's voice comes in as smooth as butter. And truly, if there was any hit to be made on this album had it come out back in 1990, it's this song right here. I mean, it's got everything I could have asked for in a Carl Perkins comeback in the year 2025. It's big, it's loud, it's fast-paced. It's full of energy, and it really gives the album a big start. Track number 2, Don't You Know I Love You, is, although a bit of a mouthful with a simple premise, I would change it to just Don't You Know. And to me, this is the most 90s country sounding song on the whole album. It's got that boogie style piano opening, and then, especially with Carl's tone, it sounds very 90s country, and it's got the piano, it's got steel guitar, it's got all the fixins. And funny enough, my favorite part about this song is around the end of it, when they do that like back and forth, I love you, baby, yeah, yeah. That part is super catchy. It's still in my head right now. I love listening to that part. Finally get to Memphis with track number 3, Memphis in the Meantime. And it's a song about wanting to get away from the country, the pop, the rap, and to go to a place like Memphis where you can just rock and roll and have a good time. And it's truly, any track on this album that could just be rock and roll incarnate, it would be this one. It's got a very rhythmic drum pattern laid down by Stan. Carl's tone is just probably the loudest and heaviest it's ever been, but just bearable enough to where you can still listen to it without your ears bleeding. And the biggest thing that really turns me on about this track is just the energy, the drive. It's got a real groove to it, a catchy chorus, and it gets so big that it just boils over into a full-blown rockabilly jam session in the last third. I almost forgot, but he also mentions his former Sun Records label mate by the name of Elvis Presley and whether or not he would have cut this song, and I'm kind of willing to bet $10 that since he covered Blue Suede Shoes, if this song came out in the 50s, he definitely would have. As if we didn't get enough rock and roll on the last track, we get even more with track number 4, Messing Around with Rock and Roll. And this is the origin story of Carl Perkins. He's singing about his upbringing as a poor country boy, going from that to a place like Memphis, specifically to Memphis, to Sun Records Studios, not knowing what he was getting himself into until he became smack dab in the middle of what would become rock and roll. And my favorite part about this song is the main riff, and the reason why is because, like, yeah, it's super catchy, it gets in your head, but it's also, if you listen closely, it's got this really nice undertone of acoustic underneath. And of all bands, it reminds me of something Kiss would do, because Kiss also would do that same thing with a bunch of their early songs. where they would have electric with an acoustic undertone. And also in the song, he gives a shout out to England for keeping rock and roll alive, which you look at bands like the Beatles, the Who, the Rolling Stones, you kind of get the idea. Finally get to catch our breath a little with the title song, Something's Never Changed, track number 5. And it's a song about life, more specifically a song about love, a good, true love, and how it's one of those things that never change despite the ever-changing nature of life itself. And he's singing about how the love he has for his woman is one of those things that hasn't changed, and how they can still go out and do things and go to places that they have enjoyed in life, even though it looks like those things have changed, they're still there and waiting for them. And my favorite part about this song is Carl's playing. I mean, he really shows in this song that he is a master of his craft, that he's perfected his style at this point in his life. And he is fully capable of playing a fast rock and roll song or a slower ballad-like song like this. Track number 6, Miss Muddy, is not only the most amusing title out of the bunch, but it's also the most blues heavy. It's a song about the fun that Carl is going to have with this muddy woman. It's a song about the fun that Carl is going to have with Miss Muddy, and they're going to go down south to Memphis, to New Orleans, and just overall have a good time after experiencing a good love gone bad. And my favorite part about this song has got to be Carl singing. I mean, not a lot of people talk about his singing, but he really kind of nails that blues feeling. And he gets really like loud and rough up, he lets it out. And it's definitely the loudest I've ever heard him sing, but it really adds to the feel of the song, and it really kind of helps keep it going. We get another slow song with track number 7, Where Does Love Go? And I view this song as sort of having like a contradicting relationship with the title song, because they both sing about love, but you have the one that sings about how true love never changes. This one paints a different picture. A picture that tells us that although true love usually doesn't change, love in general can, and it will. Love can come, it can go, it can falter, it can grow. And that's just kind of how it's always been. And unfortunately for Carl in this song, he's saying about how a love can in fact go bad, and how even though it looks like it was going to be forever, sometimes in life, things just don't turn out that way. And again, my favorite part about this song has got to be his playing. The way he plays on this song, especially with this and the title song, is that both of which sound like something that would influence a Paul McCartney or a George Harrison. And he really, again, does a great job at sort of nailing the feel of what they're trying to go for with this song. Carl also pays tribute to another former Sun Records label mate, Johnny Cash, with track number 8, Get Rhythm. And although I love the original, this one I deeply appreciate also because of its slow stomping rhythmic nature, no pun intended. And I also really love the way Carl adds this gruffness to his voice when saying this one, like, you better get rhythm or else. And again, his playing is top notch. Stan's drums are really add to that loud stomping feel, and it flows along very well. Although he doesn't sing the whole song, still, he gets the feel down, and it really is a slow rocker. We get to technically the last song on this album with track number 9, Heart of My Heart, which really emphasizes just how much of an impact a good woman's love can have on one individual. Not only does she touch his heart, but the heart of his heart. And again, just like with messing around with rock and roll, it has a very memorable riff that really kind of just stays in your head the more you listen to it. And again, Carl's singing is really endearing to listen to. And overall, I would say it's a really nice, almost simple rock and roll conclusion to this album. Or at least I would have said that if we didn't have track number 10, Baby Bye Bye, the Jackson demo. And I mean, it's okay. I mean, I can listen to it. It's got a different intro. It's got a slower pace. It's not as big and bold and loud and fast as the final cut. But the one thing I do love about this demo is that you can hear the slap bass. And I tried listening to the final cut to see if that was still included, and I don't think it is. So that is one thing I can appreciate about this demo, is that it's got that slap bass that is pretty prominent in rockabilly as a genre. So all in all, this album, although it was unexpected and long overdue, I was beyond excited when this first came out, before it came out, when it was just first announced, because around the same time, Waylon Jennings' Songbird had just come out earlier in the month, and then the year before, Johnny Cash's Songwriter came out also. So with that, with the other album, and with this, all coming out around the same year or so, I mean, oh my gosh, we were living it up, or at least I was. And I've seen a couple of people complain about the sound of this album. I'm not entirely sure what they're talking about. I mean, I've played this album countless times on my vehicle speakers. It sounds great, it sounds loud, it sounds energetic, it sounds the way it should for Carl Perkins, especially in the 90s, with the way 90s country sounded. This definitely would have been a hit album had it come out then. And I especially think that Baby Bye Bye and Memphis in the Meantime would have been a double-sided hit had it come out. But what matters is that it's out now. You can buy it on CD, vinyl, stream it anywhere. I highly recommend it because it is the long-awaited, overdue comeback of the King of Rockabilly. I cannot recommend it enough. It might be one of my favorite albums by the legend. And I would say top 3 tracks on this one, I would have to say Baby Bye Bye, Don't You Know I Love You, and Memphis in the Meantime. I mean, I know it's literally the first 3 songs on the album, but I mean, they really just capture, like, you know, the vibes of what this is all about. And also, I really like the cover of the way it kind of just highlights Carl Perkins in general. It celebrates him almost, because again, we were sort of getting this to commemorate 70 years of Blue Suede Shoes, so it really does a good job kind of showcasing what Carl is all about in just one album cover. So that being said, I'm Johnny Man, this is Carl Perkins, Something's Never Changed, and I'll see you guys in the next video. I'm gonna go buy some Blue Suede shoes or something, assuming they don't cost too much.